Jordan Peele steps away from more controversial subject matter to bring a sci-fi horror epic of truly spectacular proportions that says a lot about the concept of, well, spectacle. This is M.L. Miller Frights Best in Horror Countdown 2021 through 2022. Counting down the best in horror films released from October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022. According to me, M.L. Miller. Here we go. Number 7. Nope was released on July 22nd, 2022. It's available to rent on Amazon Prime. It's directed and written by Jordan Peele. After the untimely death of their father, Otis Haywood Sr., played by Keith David, his son, Otis Jr., aka OJ, played by Daniel Kaluuya, attempts to maintain the business of managing horse actors for films. See, the Haywoods have long been associated with the training of horses for movies since the beginning of film itself. Helping OJ is his fast-talking sister, Emerald, played by Keke Palmer, who has moved away from the farm and really isn't suited for ranch living. When strange happenings occur on the ranch and horses begin disappearing, the Haywoods believe there is a UFO on their property. Smelling opportunity, Emerald buys security cameras from a local electronics store and sets them up all over the ranch, hoping to get the impossible clear shot of the UFO and cash in on it. But getting this shot means putting OJ and the horses in peril, a peril not of planet Earth, otherwise known as Nope. Meanwhile, the owner of the Haywood Ranch, Ricky Jupe Park, played by Steven Yeun, has his own plans on cashing in on the interstellar happenings. Nope is not what you think. Well, it is about an unidentified flying object that seems to be abducting people and horses on a California ranch, but it's not your typical flying saucer movie. I've come to expect an unconventional approach to well-tread subject matter from Jordan Peele. He did a twist on the pod people in Us and Stepford Wives conspiracy in Get Out. Both films tackled well-known horror tropes. He also cast them with black people and used them as central characters and not token props set up first to die, as with many, many other horror films. All of this made Peele's production feel new and fresh, making him the new king of Hollywood horror in the eyes of critics and fans alike. While I can appreciate the message he was trying to say in Get Out and Us, it did feel like he was becoming the new M. Night Shyamalan, where he was developing a predictable style, that of presenting horror from other films but through a black cast experience. Which is fine, but I feel the filmmaker is much more than just that. Nope is probably Peele's most accomplished film. It proves that Peele can interlace the issues of race and narrative without having them overpower it. The fact that the Haywoods were the first black horse trainers in Hollywood is a wonderful and little-known fact that helps illuminate the influence of black culture in movies. Peele also addresses some of the tropes Asian actors find themselves forced into through Steven Yeun's character, who was a giant sitcom star in his youth. At the same time, Peele tosses in a little prejudice on Haywood's side, specifically Emerald, when she makes assumptions about Yeun's ethnicity when she first meets him. This is quite a leap from having every white person be a racist in Get Out and every white person be cartoon cannon fodder in Us. The story is not solely about race, but takes its time to acknowledge and address smaller, subtler issues of race that people don't talk about as much. One can run a parallel with the theme of the way animals are often treated in films with the black experience with slavery. It's a theme that is subtle but ever present throughout the film, and never overpowers the narrative. But that's not the point of Nope. More so than any of his other films, Nope feels like a spectacle movie for a big audience. It's filled with giant special effects in the latter half and a pulse-pounding climax with everything, including the lives of everyone we have come to care about in the story, at stake. At the same time, it's a spectacle that takes its time. Nope starts slow. It's like OJ himself, a slow talker, a slow mover, a more deliberate decision maker. The story doesn't begin with a spacecraft landing or a spectacular sighting or anything like that. Much like Shyamalan's Signs, the film takes its time introducing some elements of mystery, yet also allows the viewer to settle into the lives of the Haywoods. Many people are not comfortable with long silences in movies. or movies that take their time with suspense and let the scene play out naturally. But that's exactly what Peele does with Nope. Peele is guilty of inserting a few jump scares here and there, but these serve as punchlines that occur after the terrifying scenes of action and horror, rather than hollow cat jumping through the window pranks that happened before it. This makes for a more satisfying and memorable scare, and those occur all the way through the movie. The mystery of what exactly is flying through the sky above the Haywood farm is something I've never seen done before. It could be seen as a Shyamalan twist, but the twist feels warranted because of heavy themes of OJ's relationship with his horses and a bone-chilling subplot involving Steven Yeun's character's grotesque encounter with a stage chimp on the stage of a sitcom in the 80s. These themes resonate and drive the point home that we may not be ready or able to communicate with alien life forms since we can't even treat ourselves and our animals with respect and understanding. The cast is stellar from top to bottom. Everyone with a speaking part is hitting a home run here. While he seemed nervous and out of his depth a bit in Get Out, Daniel Kaluuya commands every scene he's in with an intensity few actors have. His eyes are shifty and ever observant, noticing things that normal people don't because they are living much more fast-paced lives. This proves to be the one thing that helps him in noticing and understanding the actions of the UFO. Keke Palmer is well-intentioned as Emerald, but her actions make her out to be a pretty unlikable person at first. It isn't until she is reminded of what home is that we see some kind of development in her fast-moving demeanor. She's the opposite of her brother, but the two actors working together complement each other perfectly. It makes you believe in their love for one another despite their differences. The rest of the cast is great as well. Michael Wincott is always amazing with his gravelly voice and zen attitude. Here he is a pompous and somewhat over-the-hill cameraman looking for inspiration and a reason to keep doing what he's doing. His role is small but integral to the story, and he ends up finding that purpose in a highly dramatic way. Much of the comedy falls on the shoulders of Brandon Perea as Angel, the tech guy who installs the security cams on the Haywood farm and gets caught up in the mayhem, even though they don't want him there. His jittery delivery is perfect and necessary relief in some of the more tense scenes. I also loved Steven Yeun in the role of the landowner. He could have played it as a benevolent land baron, always on the Haywood's back for payments, but instead he ends up being a likable and complex guy with a very tragic backstory. I'm not going to reveal that subplot here because it simply has to be seen to be believed, and yes, it involves that lady with the veil in the trailers. Finally, though he is only in the film for about 3 minutes, Keith David is great, and it's uncanny how much he and Daniel Kaluuya look like each other. This was perfect casting for this iconic actor. Nope ends suddenly. It offers no world-spanning resolution, just a satisfying conclusion to the story we just witnessed. It's a big-time blockbuster film, but never forgets to pay attention to those small, intimate, and pants-shittingly scary moments of the unknown. Nope is a modern-day Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but while I felt that Spielberg's film was slightly distanced from the viewer, Nope is right up next to you, as familiar as your neighbor, and that's what makes it all the more scary. While the effects are present throughout, I love the way Peele uses them sporadically, crescendoing to a truly bombastic climax with iconic scenes of terrifying peril. This is the type of summer movie I want to see more of. It's got memorable and likable characters, a world-threatening plot, but never shies away from those moments that creep up next to you and grab on tightly. This is a good one, folks. I highly recommend it. While done on a fraction of Nope's budget, The Seed is another hybrid of horror and sci-fi that never shies away from dealing out some truly grisly carnage. The Seed was released on March 10th, 2022. It's streaming on Shudder. It's directed and written by Sam Walker. A trio of sassy gals, Lucy Martin, Chelsea Edge, and Sophie Vavasseur, head out to a secluded house in the middle of the desert for a weekend filled with fun, frolicking in the pool, and snapping photos to share with their followers on social media. This coincides with a rare meteor shower set to occur the night they arrive. The party is interrupted when one of the meteors crashes into their pool. Not wanting the foul-smelling rock to taint the waters, they fish it out with a net and find it's actually the corpse of some kind of armadillo, bear, turtle creature. After attempting to get rid of it, they discover that it's not dead, and also displays the power of mind control, which doesn't really bode well for these three nubile gals. Now, some movies bog you down with the science and get mired in the nerdy tech talk, but you won't find that here. Yes, seeing the story through the eyes of three vapid 20-somethings may be grating for some, but for me it was a refreshing step away from commonplace. Director-writer Sam Walker takes his time focusing on the bathing suit-clad beauties as they bask by the pool and click on their cell phones. He also spends a bit more time than I was comfortable with as they bicker with one another over how new or old their phones are, how important social media follows are, and of course how fierce they look in those outfits. But this getting to know you time actually feels like it has a point, namely to distinguish which of these girls need to die and in what order. The Seed is a film that exists pretty comfortably on the surface level. It's a simple mind-controlling alien movie with heaping amounts of decorations in the form of three young, supple bodies and a shit ton of gore. And I'm okay with that. Not all horror needs to be elevated, and while the production of The Seed seems to be on a higher level than most, it never tries to outsmart the viewer or sell over haughty themes. It's a bunch of girls in bathing suits battling it out with a monster. First they want to get rid of it, then some of them get possessed by it, and those who aren't try to save the rest, and then try to kill the monster. Pretty simple stuff. There's even quite a few costume changes for no reason whatsoever. The gore is going to be the highlight for the horror fans. Impregnated with the monster's seed, the gals begin bleeding black goo from their eyes, their flat stomachs begin to bulge, and then they roll around in a pile of guts while hallucinating about the monster's experiences as it rocketed to Earth. It's all done with black goo and blood sloshing around in every direction, as if they were on a rotating sprinkler system. If someone is killed, you can bet your fine patoot it's going to be gory. A tribal club is incorporated in the carnage, making each kill as brutal and bloody as possible. By the end of the film, everyone is covered in sloshy goo and grime from head to toe. I don't want to sell the cast short. Lucy Martin, Chelsea Edge, and Sophie Vavasseur, all three have wonderful personalities, succeeding in making us love and hate them kinda at the same time. I do feel this film tries to sell itself as more witty and funny than it really is. I didn't really laugh much at this one, but the three leads were still extremely watchable. Sophie Vavasseur starred in Exorcismus a while back and really impressed me in that movie. Here she's given less to do, but at least she's given a lot of screen time to show her beauty. Lucy Martin is great as the bitchier of the three, and Chelsea Edge is great as the more wholesome, less self-centered of the three. It doesn't get much deeper than that, but still, you can distinguish the three characters pretty well. The Seed isn't out to change the world. Well, I guess the monster in The Seed is, but you get what I mean. It's a goofy monster movie starring three extremely beautiful women prancing around in revealing clothing, then quickly transitioning to splashing around in heaps of gore. Some horror movies are just eye candy, and The Seed doesn't really try to be anything more than something to titillate and mortify. It succeeds marvelously at both. I recommend this to folks who don't really need to always take their horror too seriously. It's okay to do that sometimes, and The Seed is a good reason for that. As always, feel free to agree, disagree, or give me your own picks for your favorite horror movies. It's October, so let's talk horror. Come back tomorrow for the next level in the Best in Horror Countdown 2021 through 2022. Be sure to hit all of the pertinent bells and whistles down below, and you'll never miss a post. Happy Halloween, folks.